Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this. You threw me off. No, I'm just joking. Welcome to this week's episode of Books, Beauty, and Business. And today we're going to be discussing how podcasts can actually help Christian authors grow, both before and after their books are published. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gina Stockdall. I am the owner and CEO of Marilyn Jeanne Designs. And if you guys are watching live here on Facebook, please put hashtag live or say hello in the comments. If you're watching the replay, please put hashtag replay. And for those of you who are unaware, I do have two little co-hosts that run in and out of here. And
yeah, I'll be in here every once in a while.
The one you'll hear the most, his name is Finn. He is my oldest. And then I also have Ben. So this is not the space for perfectly polished human beings. We are here with real life, trying to steward the calling that the Lord has given us. And of course, doing it imperfectly because the only perfect person was Jesus.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, good morning to Abigail. You'll see her comment here if you're watching the Facebook Live under Beautiful Legacy. They are the sponsor for this episode today, but I will get into that a little bit later. Which is also one of the reasons why I want to talk about podcasts and things like that today. But before I get too ahead of myself, I'm going to say I was going to do a super springy and summery look today.
Yes, and if you're in the metro, prepare for some rain.
Yeah, it's starting to rain here in Kansas City. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not feeling 100% today. So I am going to kind of just show you guys what I do what I do for my makeup and stuff on days that I either still want to do makeup or have to, as far as looking somewhat put together. But I don't necessarily feel like doing it, if that makes sense. So I'm not really leaving the house today either. So there's no real reason for me to get super duper put together, I guess. So anywho, I did not even do my skincare this morning. I just literally put some primer on. This morning has kind of gone haywire, but that just kind of is life around here. So we're going to let that primer set for just a second. When we talk about podcasting is not new. It's been around for many, many, many years now. However, I will say that I am relatively still new in the podcast area.
Well, yeah, we did just start last year. So.
We started last year, almost a year ago, exactly. We're going to be celebrating our first year anniversary of our podcast next week. And Abigail just celebrated her third year. And so that is another reason why... Yay. That is another reason why we are going to be discussing podcasting and things like that today, because we're not only celebrating Abigail, but we're going to celebrate ourselves as well, and all of our lovely guests that both Abigail and I have. Abigail just asked me what primer I use. I get this one from Dollar Tree.
Half of the stuff she gets is from Dollar Tree.
I know, but I got a new eye cream in, and I'm going to show you guys that one next week. So this one's the La Mercier. It's the French brand that they have now, but it's the Pore Diffusion Makeup Primer. It's $1.25, and
$1.25 is always a pretty good price.
It is a good price, and it lasts me a little while. I just use 3 pumps for my whole face, and it's really not bad. Abigail also says congratulations on 1 year. Thank you. We are going to somewhat discuss some of the lessons that I have also learned. So also feel free, Abigail, to share your expertise, your wisdom, all of that good stuff if you want to. You don't have to. But my first step, now that we've done primer, is going to be putting on a foundation. Depending on your skin type, you can use foundation, BB cream. You can even skip this step if you really don't want to do it. So I use the ProLuxe Cosmetics Matte Foundation in this shade of Light. This is also from Dollar Tree. We are slowly but surely going to be upgrading our stuff, but in this economy, it just is what it is. And then I use the MB foundation brush, Kabuki brush from Dollar Tree also. This actually does really, really well for $1.25. And I love that it has a cap on it so I don't get stuff all over the place.
Okay, whoever made that's pretty clever.
Let's see, Abigail says that she currently uses the Blue Elf primer currently. And hold on. Sorry, dropped my cap. I wish I could use Elf I really do. I love the way that their stuff looks and that they're affordable. But for whatever reason, e.l.f. uses something in their products. I break out every single time that I use it. It drives me insane.
Wow.
So we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to do one pump. I'm not doing something super, I don't know what I'm looking for. Super full coverage today. We're just going to go in and do that. And just because the internet is the way that it is, please note that we do no filters around here. The only type of like filter that you're going to see in MJD marketing is me turning my selfie pictures into black and white. And the only reason that I do that is the black and white goes like with the aesthetic of my brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But other than that, no filters. We are perfectly beautiful and wonderful in the exact way that God made us. Dry skin today and all. Okay?
It's like survival of the fittest out here.
It is. But let me tell you, because Jesus loves you, whether you wear makeup, use filters, whatever, he loves you no matter what. And that's the beauty of having a relationship with him. So, I will admit that I used to do makeup because I was like super insecure, especially after gaining a lot of weight and things like that. Gonna go off on a side tangent just real quick. But the older I get, the more of a relationship that I get with Christ, the more that I realize that I now just do makeup for fun and nothing more. So, hold on. Abigail says, for mine, it's not add niche, add yours, but definitely recommend a guest request form. And listen to their past guest experiences, or if they don't have them, chat via voice message. Don't go make sure they're, so you can make sure that they're a good fit and also make a good conversation. Mine is more conversational, so that's definitely important to me. I will admit that is excellent advice, at least from my experience also, because I've had my podcast is also conversational. I obviously want the guest to shine, so I don't talk quite as much in it, but I do have a few episodes, if I'm being completely honest, where it was basically their show and not mine. So I also love the idea of doing a guest like request form. I also love the idea of listening to their past episodes if they have them. I have never thought of that, so I'm probably going to be stealing that idea myself. And then I'm going in now with my concealer just under my eyes and nothing more, with the Wet n Wild Mega Last Incognito, and my shade is Fair Beige. So, I need to find my brush. But she says that she's sorry for the typos that she's eating at the same time as typing. It's honestly fine, because I would have typos.
Hey, I multitask too, man.
Even without eating, so I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, I'm sometimes a multitasker.
Yep, we sure are around here. House full of ADHDers around here, let me tell you what.
Except my father.
That's true. Jeff's the only one that doesn't have a diagnosis of ADHD so far in this house. But, anywho. So, lessons that I have learned so far in my first year of podcasting. Abigail brought up an excellent first one on that just because everyone is interested in being on your show does not necessarily mean that everyone has to be on your show. I have updated my request form to say that just because, we record the episode does not guarantee that the episode is actually going to be aired. And what?
I think.
Benjamin, you can't use the restroom right now. I'm live.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to use the downstairs potty. He doesn't like to use the downstairs bathroom because there's a litter box in it.
Yeah. Benjamin does. Benjamin, dude.
Okay.
All I gotta do is just not sniff while you're in there. Easy.
Okay, everybody stop. Welcome to motherhood. For those of you who are watching and aren't in motherhood yet.
Things like this happen, okay?
I want both of you to skedaddle for a little bit.
Alright, that I can do.
Am I allowed to kick them out? I'm gonna anyway. Anywho, I have updated my stuff to say, like, just because we've recorded the episode does not necessarily mean that episode is guaranteed to air. I also have absolutely went back and while editing my episodes, been like, this could have been better, or this audio is not great, etc., etc. And I have absolutely emailed my guest for that episode and been like, hey, can we redo this? Because I'm not here to have them, advertise their testimony, their journey, their book, their business, or their ministry, and then the episode be like subpar. Not what we're doing here, right? So that was kind of my first lesson, was like, it's okay that not everything goes out into the world, right? It's okay to do things messy, and it's okay to do things imperfectly, but if you know, or you have a gut feeling like, hey, this episode could be better, we could re-record it, what have you, there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if you frame it in the way of like, I want this episode to do, what's best for you, the guest. So let's redo this. And I have yet to have anybody have a problem with that. So that's my first lesson. I also just did setting powder. It's also from Dollar Tree. It's the Marie Claire group. And it's just the like flawless finish, translucent one. Nothing fancy. So we're going to add some blush. I'm using some Unique blush in the shade of Sweet. I don't know if this shade is even still existent on their website. This is just left over from when I used to sell it. So we're just going to add a little bit of color back to these cheeks. But next couple lessons that I have learned is, if you're wanting to be a guest, like for myself, I want to not only host a podcast, but I would like to be a guest on a podcast, because you can certainly share audiences if the other person also has a podcast, or, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think this morning. Get more eyes, more ears on your mission, whether that's your book, your ministry, your business, whatever, even your own podcast. Because I've even been a guest on a podcast that's specifically for podcasters to listen to. But if you're wanting to be a guest on a podcast, I think you should equally do as much research before putting in a request form or scheduling anything. Like, if you're going to take the time to be a guest, you should make sure that the audience of that podcast is your ideal audience. Don't be putting your ministry and your book and your business out in front of people who, honestly, that book, business, and ministry are not meant to serve. You're not helping. You're not helping their listeners, and you're not helping yourself, right? That kind of creates like the whole where you're busy, but the wheels are not moving kind of thing. So for anyone who ever wants to be on like Abigail's podcast, which is Beautiful Legacy, which we'll go into a little bit, you're going to see my green t-shirt bra thing. I really don't care anymore. But if you're going to want to be like on Abigail's podcast, or even mine, you should make sure that our target audience is the people that you are also targeting. But B, you should also make sure that the style that we are doing it, the objective of both of our podcasts, things like that, are also what you're doing. Abigail says that she has been on multiple podcasts where the host was also on hers. I am huge on collaborating in that sense of like sharing audiences and things, because the way that the kingdom works is, even though like Abigail and I both have podcasts, we're not actually competitors. Not only because our podcasts are two totally different like niches and genres, but because the Lord has called us all to help in different ways in different people. So while Abigail and I were friends well before our podcasts were even started, something that's kind of helped us grow as friends is growing through our podcasts. I even was just messaging her the other day of like, what does this metric even mean? I don't know. But my point is like so many women specifically then see like, oh, well, she has a business or she has a book or she has a podcast. We're not competing, guys. We're helping each other. That's the whole point. Let's see. Abigail says that she requires people to listen to an episode or two of hers prior to applying. Some people have been rude about it, but overall it has made sense for people applying. I think that's an excellent rule. Again, I might have to adopt that because, yeah, you know. Another swap helpful is trailer swapping. Can you explain what that means? Because I don't know what that means. But another thing that I have learned is some people do, you know, weekly like episodes. Some people do bi-weekly, some people do monthly, whatever. You know, it kind of depends on what your purpose for the podcast is. But I also feel, and this is just from my personal experience, so if you disagree, you're allowed to. I feel like, especially when you're first starting out, you should do what is sustainable for the season that you're in right now. Also, I just added a bit of highlights because I'm a glitter goblin and I don't like to leave my house or even kind of live in makeup without a little bit of shimmer. Do you see that? This one is from Aura. It's A-U-R-A. I got it from Walmart for like $5. It's called Hollow Beam. It's H-O-L-O, like holographic beam. It is white, but it certainly has greens, blues, and pinks in it, and I absolutely love it. A little goes a long way. Like I said, this was $4 at like Walmart, $5 at Walmart, and I've had it for at least 6 months, at least. So, lasts a little while. I'm gonna blend this in just a little bit so it's not so like crazy looking. I don't know. But anywho, I do think that you need to start with where it's sustainable. You can always pick up the pace later. So if you need to start with monthly episodes, start with monthly episodes. If you need to do weekly for a while, do weekly, right? I'm just now getting into a good groove because I'm in a season of life where doing 2 episodes is okay. And I also did it in a weird way, if that makes sense. Hold on, let me grab my eyeshadow stuff and I can do eyeshadow while I'm talking. This eyeshadow palette, I don't even really know. I got it from 5 and Below, I think, maybe, like forever and a day ago, like maybe a decade ago, so I couldn't even tell you. Also, moving on, Abigail says for the trailer swapping, because I asked her to explain what that is. She says, so you send your trailer file to someone who you are swapping with, and then when they do the same, and then you have to, and then you put it in an episode, like an ad. Oh, that's smart. I've done it multiple times and normally put it at the end of the episode, so if people seem interested, they can go to the show right away, versus waiting and forgetting or leaving the episode of mine to go listen to theirs. That's brilliant. Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to start adopting all of your good stuff. Abigail also says that she started weekly and sometimes twice a week for the first 1.5 years, and then she did mostly every other week for a year, and now she's back to weekly. So yeah, it's okay to change it up depending on what season of life you're in. And I bring this up for multiple reasons. So, let me get my stuff here. Hold on. Start with this one. I'm just letting you guys know I'm going to do kind of a cute little eye. Nothing super crazy, but I am going to pull the colors from my tank top into my eyeballs. But I bring up you can focus on what season of life you're in while still focusing on the calling that God has given you for a reason. And I kind of experienced that lesson at the beginning of end of 2025, beginning of 2026. Because do you really think that God didn't give you this calling knowing what struggles you're going to have with it. Right? And that was kind of a difficult hurdle for me at the beginning, like end of last year, beginning of this year. I hit burnout so badly because I kept forcing myself to be like, I have to do it all. I have to be the perfect wife. I have to be the perfect mom. I have to be the perfect homeschool teacher. I have to be the perfect publisher. I have to be the perfect designer. I have to be the perfect this, that, and the whatever else other hat I was holding on to. And I'll be the first one to tell you that that's not achievable. That's not achievable for multiple reasons. Now, this again is my personal opinion, my personal experience. So if this is not your experience, I am actually really glad for you because this was rough for me. But I honestly felt like I was failing. I felt like I was failing because we weren't getting a ton of people who wanted to do books right away. I thought I was failing because my podcast didn't just take off. I thought I was failing because XYZ. And it killed me a little bit inside until I realized that I was being too hard on myself. And half of the things that I was focusing on was because the enemy was making me feel that way. Abigail says, as long as you let your audience know it's your show. So consistency can definitely look different for different seasons. And I can agree with that. The thing that I will admit that the lesson I learned was I didn't communicate well. I'm going to add some yellow. This is a Nightberry Before Christmas palette that my husband got me from Hot Topic. And we're going to add this yellow greeny color here to go with our like, it's going to be like lemonade colors, but our greeny like yellow from the shirt. Anyway, what I didn't do, and I regret, but I have learned, and I will not do it moving forward, is not communicating well with what my needs were with my team. I kept trying to be like, the perfect boss. I have it all together. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing was fine. But I also did not communicate with my guests very well. I didn't communicate with my clients very well. I just didn't communicate well. And part of that was from the burnout. And the other part, actually there's 3 parts to this. One part of it was the burnout. I had like no mental space to like dedicate to even just sending emails or text messages. Like when I say that my brain just kind of stopped working from like December to February, I kind of mean it. If it wasn't pertaining to my children in the sense of keeping them alive and educated, my brain didn't really focus on it. And so it's a regret that I have for sure. We're going to also use a blending brush with very little to no pressure to kind of blend these 2 colors together. But my biggest thing too is like, I had to take a break from recording even. I've decided to start kind of having seasons where this season I'll be recording and in this season I won't be. To explain that further is obviously whenever I am recording an actual podcast with a guest and not just like this where I'm telling you my expertise and my experiences while I do makeup. But I want the background to be quiet. I want it to be where I'm not being interrupted. I want it to be where, they are getting the most professional experience with me that they can. I can't give that, or that's what I'm looking for, guarantee that when the boys are home. I mean, you guys were listening at the beginning of the episode of this where they were kind of in and out. I had to kick them out of the bathroom. That's just my life, and it's fine. But that means that I cannot record guest episodes for that particular part of the podcast when they're home, meaning that summertime is just not going to be recording time. And that's just that. What's up, dude? No, you can wait just a minute. And so what I did was I just used the episodes that I had already recorded and tried my best to keep up. And I'll admit, I mean, if you go back and look at my episodes, there was a big gap when I wasn't producing episodes because I wasn't producing anything, right? I barely was kind of staying alive at that point, if I'm being completely honest. But that's really helped me out because what I did when I first started the podcast last year was I started recording in May, but I didn't launch the podcast until August. So I had quite a few podcast episodes built up already, and I'm still using them to this day because I also had to take that break. So it's okay for you to know your season, and it's okay for you to switch it up. Now, I just did my eyebrows. I literally just filled them in. I'm not doing anything fancy. It's just the LA colors in brown, whatever. But the reason why I wanted to also discuss podcasts with you guys as my audience is because if you're going to write a book, whether you're an author and that's your main focus, or if you are a business or ministry owner and you're going to be writing a book to help grow the ministry or to help succeed in your mission, podcasts are going to be the number one way for you to really get your information out there without having to really leave the house. Setting spray time, I use the La Mercier, the French one from Dollar Tree, the Hydro Glow Dewy Finish setting spray. One of these days I'll get a more professional makeup bag, but I really don't care. So that's kind of like one of the best ways to do that, because if you're like myself, where I am home with the kids a lot, or I'm just home in general, because I only have certain days a week that I could even leave the house anyway, it's very difficult for me to solely rely on book signings or vendor events or things like that to really get my business and my name out there. One of the best ways I've done that is not only starting my own podcast, where obviously my guests have shared it and then their audiences have either followed me, contacted me, whatever, but also being on other people's podcasts like Abigail's, because it gets me a whole new audience. And it only took like maybe an hour of my time, depending on like what episode you're on and stuff like that. So just know, and if you're not comfortable being on camera, which I know is huge for quite a few people, because a lot of podcasters prefer to have the video for like marketing purposes and things like that. And there is nothing against that. But in this season of my life, I am not going to do that with my own personal one. I don't think Abigail does video on hers either. My personal podcast is audio only for multiple reasons. The first reason is I am a homeschooling mom of 2 boys who is also gardening and homesteading. And it is very rare that I'm going to be camera ready every single time that I have a recording session scheduled. Sorry, not sorry. So I will do audio only for at least this season of life, unless you are wanting to be on a books, beauty, and business episode. But that is something that you would know that ahead of time. But my point being is, if you're not comfortable being on camera, it is okay to do audio. Start with audio only. You know, being a guest and being a host, being on podcasts in general, is a muscle that you kind of have to flex. It's something you have to exercise. I'm going to tell you right now that if you listen to my first episode versus my 38th episode, I guarantee you that you will hear growth and confidence, because I've now done this 38 times, right? I've learned what to do, what not to do. I'm not as nervous anymore to mess it up. So my point being is, if you really want to start getting your book out there, your ministry out there, your business out there, podcasts are the way to go. Now, some are free, some you have to pay to be on, and things like that. Go for the free ones first, and then you can go for the ones that you have to pay a fee to be on. None of them are necessarily scams as long as they tell you what the fee is for. Are you paying because you're helping them pay for the back, for the editing and things like that? Fine. But as long as it's not like an outrageous amount of money either, right? So be on the lookout for that. But there are plenty of people that would love to talk to you. And there's plenty of people within their audience that God is calling you to talk to. Abigail says, yes, mine is audio only due to sometimes recording, sometimes sick, and not feeling well due to chronic health issues. Exactly. So like if you are new to podcasting, then I would highly suggest that you talk to either myself or Abigail, and we can either set you up on our personal podcasts, or we can at least kind of, I don't know what word I want to use. I don't want to use coach, but like give you encouragement on what to do. One way that I have personally found quite a bit of the podcasts I've been on is just joining podcast Facebook groups. And then people will post like, hey, I need guests. Here's what my show's about. Here's what guests I'm looking for. If you fit that bill, sign up, right? Or at least request information or whatever. But honestly, if you're willing to do maybe 1 or 2 a month to start out with, or even just stay there, that's going to give you so much more visibility to people that you would have never even thought of than just posting on social media and hoping, right? So that's kind of my thing. I'm a huge person on authors should be on podcasts. Authors should start podcasts. Podcasts are kind of the way to go, even if it's not like your main deal, right? It's not my main deal. It's not my number one focus. I originally started it to get, kind of get my name out there in the Christian author world. And here we are a year later. There's also signs that, that God is working. Because when I first started putting feelers out there, hey, I'm starting a brand new podcast. I need XYZ to be guests, right? I was initially booked out for almost 6 months within like 2 days. It was insane, which is also another lesson that I learned, that's insane and you don't have to do that. I was so overwhelmed. So now I have I'm gonna look crazy for a second, but now I have my system set to where I can only schedule out so many per month, and then that's it. You'll have to wait till the next month because I'm not going to lose my mental health again. I'm simply not. Abigail says that she has a wait list to be on hers, but that she is willing to add to it and that she has had authors before. So this is dry shampoo. I use the Collab Dry Experts one, but it smells like roses and I love it. And my hair is super crazy. Don't judge me. Tomorrow's wash day. Can you tell? But we're going to do kind of an updo because it's going to be hot today. And as you guys can tell, I'm kind of a curvy girly and I get really hot really easily. So we're going to kind of just do this. And I'm going to do kind of like a messy bun with a headband. But anywho, so my point being, if you are struggling with book sales, getting visibility, I highly, highly, highly recommend either starting your own podcast or getting on podcasts or both. My goal for 2027 is going to be getting on more podcasts now that I'm in a good groove with my own. And hold on just a second. I have to put my hair up. Abigail says that she uses Calendly, can't read. And I will only send my calendar to people when I'm booking my next batch. That makes sense. I use a system where it's all in one. So it's my calendar, my invoicing, my like it's all in one thing. But the calendar is similar to Calendly. So I enjoy that part though. Also, in true Gina fashion, I'm not looking for perfection on this ponytail. Little bumps and whatever just adds to the whimsy, okay? I was gonna do like super cute like space buns and stuff, and I tell you, I just have no motivation to really do much today. I'll mean it. So let's make this all kind of messy. Needs to get, my hair is going to get cut, and these roots, see these roots? Or the blonde's gonna get touched up next week, and I'm very excited for that because then I can finally look semi-normal. This actually turned out kind of cute. We're gonna kind of play around with this here. So, and also for those of you who want to do mainly Christian podcasters, like podcasting, a little bit, whether you are wanting to start your own Christian podcast or be on a, like that's kind of like the niche you want to be on, there are tons, and I mean tons, of Christian podcasting Facebook groups, because that's mainly what I'm in. Not only do I find quite a few to be on in there, I found quite a few of my own guests in there, and there's also a lot of people that are willing to just really help you out, which I appreciate. So I'm going to put a little headband with it while we quickly talk about our sponsor, which is Abigail today, which is also another reason why we're talking about podcasts, right? So she obviously has her podcast, and she partners with Marilyn Jeanne Designs. We're going to pull this just a little. Partners with Marilyn Jeanne Designs for her podcast merch. I make all of it by hand. They are not mass produced. I am currently wearing the brand new tank top that we have designed together. Can't really see. That's the only downside to the blonde, is when I pull these down, because my little millennial self thought it'd be cute to have them down, and then you can't even see them. So I'm just gonna retuck those, retuck that back in. But I also, like I said, I'm wearing one right now. We just launched these over the summer, and they come in 3 separate colors. They can come in white, black, or gray. They come in a traditional tank top, and then they also come in the razorback. So what you get is a tank top, shirt, whatever. It says loved, worth it. I have Cat on me, so snuggling her. Don't judge me. And priceless. Her whole podcast is really about loving your whole self. And she'll put like a full description in the comments in a second. But, you know, a lot of us struggle with like chronic illnesses and mental health and things like that. But you are always loved. You are always worth it. And you will always be priceless. And that's something that her and I heavily agree on and really want to focus on in both of our businesses. So also, if you are to purchase a tank top, I will put the link in the comments. But you're not only supporting Abigail, you're not only supporting my little family, but you'll also be supporting the domestic violence survivors here in the Kansas City Metro, because Marilyn Jeanne Designs does donate 20% of our profits to 3 separate shelters in the area. So please know that you're not just purchasing kind of like a mass-produced thing. You're purchasing something that is handmade with love. It is prayed over before it is sent out. And you are supporting 3 different causes, in the sense of like you're supporting Abigail, you're supporting my little family, and then you're supporting the survivors as well. So I'm going to see, oh, you also have her logo on the back, which is super cute. And you can show off your tattoos if you're like her and I that have little shoulder tattoos. But the best part, I'm gonna see if I can show you. The best part is the worth it is supposed to glow in the dark. So, well, it does glow in the dark. I'm gonna try to see if I can get it to do it on camera. We'll see. Hold on. Okay, so we closed the door, and I'm gonna turn my ring light off. So this is me in all of my glory. We'll see if we can, oh, you can see it. Ah, that's awesome. Look. So yeah, and look how good that like glows. That's so cool. Why am I 34 and so excited about how much this glows in the dark? Whoop. Wrong switch. So, those are available on our website. We also have sweatshirts, like crew neck shirts and hoodies, if you guys are kind of wanting to prep for the fall that will be coming before we know it. But yes, those are available. Abigail says that her podcast is Mind, Body, Soul Health, and giving people a platform to share their stories, wisdom, and leave a legacy for future generations. And at the end of every episode, that she reminds everyone that they are loved, worth it, and priceless. Hence the shirt. And then on the sweatshirt, that's right, the worth it also glows. So just know they're super fun. I'm gonna reopen this door so I can hear what my children are doing. But this is kind of a longer episode, but I'm very passionate about doing things that are not necessarily easy, but like getting on podcasts is within everyone's possibility, if that makes sense. Like, I'm actually gonna pull my ears out. Like, you don't have to be within a certain wealth class. You don't have to have a big name to be a podcast guest. You don't have to do any of that. You know, you can just be yourself. People want to hear from you. All right, last but not least, we're going to go ahead and do my jewelry, and then I'll let you guys have the rest of your day. Obviously, we're going to add back on my engagement and wedding ring. Hello. I always have some sort of a necklace on, especially a cross one if I can help it. I got this one in my Slide jewelry shipment last month. It has a cross on this side.
Last month. Oh.
Yeah, but then it also has like cute little pendant on the side. So it's one of those that you can wear it. You can wear it in more than one way, which is nice. But today we're going to use it for the cross side. See, just a cute little... So yeah, this is nowhere near the look that I originally was going to go for with this shirt to kind of show it off. But I still feel nice. So that's nice. And then last but not least, of course, is my glasses so that I can see for the rest of the day. So, because I'm getting old, guys. My eyes are not wanting to work properly anymore. So, there we go. If you have any questions about the tank tops from Beautiful Legacy, if you have any questions about podcasting, whether it's how to be on Abigail's podcast, how to be on my podcast, how to start your own, any of that, please feel free to comment below while this is available on Facebook. For those of you who are rewatching this on Facebook and are new to this segment, I do download these, and then they are going to be re-uploaded on MJD's YouTube, and then I take the audio off and they go on all of our podcast platforms as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, the font can be ordered in orange if you don't want pink, and yellow, like orange and yellow versus pink and yellow. So if pink's not your vibe, we got orange too. So yeah, we're here for you, right? Just make sure that you remember that you do not have to be perfect. You just have to be faithful. And we are here to help you to do that. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and I will see you right here next week. Bye, guys.